Hey everyone, Adam here, Suess Podcast. Back with you for another Amazon review. The fine folks at Amazon were nice enough to send us screeners for their new Dr. Suess Bake-Off competition show. If you can't tell by the title, it is a baking competition show. I'm not a huge fan of reality TV or baking competition shows. I know it's kind of a trend right now. I know it's very popular, and Amazon must have the rights to Dr. Suess because I thought it was a little bit strange to do an entire series based on just that property. One thing I found cool in the course of watching the show was if you look at the Dr. Suess book artwork, it does make for interesting challenges because these people don't only have to bake, they have to sculpt and be very artistic, and they're making three-dimensional dioramas that are edible. And the Dr. Suess art always has things topsy-turvy on the precipice of falling, wacky-looking characters, unique but simple, but it stands out kind of art style. So it all kind of fits the mold of an unconventional art method. Going forward with the show, I liked how the challenges were set up to a degree. There was one thing that always sat wrong with me. By the way, this is spoiler-free. I'm not going to be giving the results of any of the episodes. I'm not going to be giving away specific challenges. But one thing that the people are often judged on is a mashup of flavors. They're given two different things that they have to put into their one final piece, and they're judged on how those flavors match up. And I guess to an extent the contestants are part of that, but to be judged on something that you're assigned seemed really off to me, never quite sat right with me. Maybe that's a nitpick at this point, and I guess I kind of jumped the gun. The format of the show, 9 teams, 2 people per team, in a bracket-style competition to see who ultimately wins. They get like a key to the Dr. Suess city, 50 grand in prize money, and I'm sure it would take their careers to the next level. Every episode, a team is knocked out of the running. It goes on. You know, you get the whole thing. You've seen reality TV competition shows before. The uniqueness in this one is the time challenges. It is people baking sculptures in front of you. And something that surprised me that I really did like about it was, at least in the beginning episodes, it seemed to kind of fall by the wayside a little bit as the series went on. I'm sure the editors were kind of trying to figure out episode length and episode feel. But they were actually giving some legit tips on baking and structure and how to mix things. So if you are into baking and you watch these to kind of see this other level of people doing it, there are some tips to pick up, which I thought was cool. I did not expect that out of a reality baking competition show. That being said, I feel like the episodes are a bit long. They're all pushing up to an hour, and there's usually 2 challenges per episode. It seemed like you could streamline this a lot more and just do 1 challenge per episode, and an hour of watching people bake but only getting very little bits of it. Why? Why not have 1 challenge and show more of it so you can get into more detail? That part was a little bit weird to me. Something else is a little bit weird to me is they focus a lot on the host of the show. I don't remember her name. I don't know who this person is, but they introduce her like there should be a lot of familiarity. So maybe it's just me not being in that world of pop culture. I don't believe she is a baker or chef of any kind. They do bring on celebrity bakers, people who are in that industry very successfully to be the judges, which is good. They can bring their expert eye to it. But the time they spend with the host and they do quirky, weird things while we're already not seeing a lot of the competition. I mean, the contestants will have 4 hours to bake something. It's an hour-long episode with 2 challenges, so 2 separate 4-hour projects. So we're getting minutes out of those hours as it is, and then they're taking more time away to make Instagram jokes with the host or whatever thing. It just focus on what you're doing. Focus on the bake-off thing. We don't really care what the host is doing. That's, again, probably a tangent. The one thing that I do believe is more of a constructive criticism and not one of my weird tangents is this is a baking show. It's Dr. Seuss themed. The very elaborate stage is cool looking. It is Dr. Seuss. If you walked into the Dr. Seuss theme park world, not sure where it is, but they have one, I'm sure it would look something like this. It's very cool, but Dr. Seuss is kids. It's for kids. Why are there no kids involved in this show? None of the kids are contestants, or none of the contestants are kids, and none of the judges are kids. I thought this was a great opportunity to do like the Master Chef Junior world for baking, or have a parent-child or mentor-child teams come on so the kids can have some part in a Dr. Seuss-themed show. it's kind of strange it's all adults. I mean, I guess they want to push their career to the next level, but just given the subject matter, even bring in a couple kids, maybe a couple different kids per episode or a couple different kids per challenge to talk about, maybe they can't talk about flavor profiles and how these things mixed with that thing. I mean, I'm sure some kids can. I watched a couple episodes of MasterChef Junior, and I don't hold a candle to them. But they can look at something and tell you if it looks like what it should look like or not. It's just bizarre to me. You have this famously kid-friendly source or IP, and there's no children involved in this show. Whatever. I guess take that or leave it for what you will. If you're into baking competition shows, I'm sure this one's going to be up your alley, because it's a baking competition show with its own little twist, taken up to a strange another level. If you're into like super serious, like nose to the grindstone kind of competition, this one has a light, airy, fun feel to it, even with the episodes feeling a little bit long. Even with me not being into reality baking shows, I watched more than I thought I would in one single sitting, because it just kind of flows one to the next and one to the next. And when you're half an hour into an episode, you're like, all right, I guess I'm going to stick it out and see what these things look like. And then when you see what they look like, I guess I'm going to stick it out and see who wins. And okay, maybe I kind of like this team. And it does suck you in. It does the reality TV show thing that it should do. Dr. Suess Baking Challenge debuts today, Tuesday, December 13th on Amazon Prime. We were not allowed to get these reviews out to you sooner. We're definitely not allowed to talk spoilers, so don't ask. Not sure why you would when you could just watch the show. But big thank you to the fine folks at Amazon for sending this screener along, for sending more screeners along. We're going to have more of these coming your way now that things in my life are settling down and Amazon is filling up my inbox again. Please make sure you like and subscribe, hit the bell, do all the things that YouTube requires, because we have a lot more videos coming up, a lot more interviews coming up. You're not going to want to miss out. So Wizard Podcast can also be found on Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month, you get multiple monthly bonus shows, audio and video. And in this month, December, we're bringing back Star Wars talk, which I'm very excited about because I just love Star Wars. So check that out, along with the other So Wizard Patreon regular shows. Speaking of the So Wizard Patreon regular shows, definitely don't miss out on So Wizard Podcast, which is updated every single week wherever you get your podcasts. SoWizardPodcast.com is your resource for reviews, recommendations, videos, merchandise, and more. We love hearing feedback, so drop us a note in the comments, leave us something on social media. All of our accounts will be found after the show and in the show notes. And on a more personal note, a good friend and I have an ongoing comedy comic series. It's called Social Studies. It's a slice of life, coming-of-age comedy comic about kids navigating high school, where everything is either the best or the worst thing to happen to you. Everything's at a heightened level. We write it like a sitcom. We do it in the style of the 90s cartoons that we grew up on, love, and inspired us. We have a ton of issues available now, more on the way. We're just working on a merchandising deal with an independent creator, so that's very cool. So lots of social studies. You can find all of it at socialstudiescomic.com. We're also on Comixology and slowly getting onto Global Comics. Check it out. Thanks.